develops its own form of sign language. Kind of like, you know, how your own family has their own special words for things, like a pot could be a pan, or they could say crick or creek. Well, they did the same thing with sign language. So many deaf people lived in the community, and some of the town meetings were also signed in their special language. And it wasn't until 1760 that the French Sign Language was actually established. Could you imagine? You didn't have a first sign language, you didn't have a first formal written language until the 1700s. Lame, I know. But a French priest, we'll just call him Charles, because I think his name is Charles Mathieu de l'Epe. Obviously, I don't know French, maybe a little French sign language, but that's about it. He established the first free public school for the deaf in France. He also tried to develop a bridge between the deaf and the hearing worlds through a system of standardized signs and finger spelling. But, you know, hearing people didn't really want to learn a new language, and they still been a little wheezy around deaf people. So in 1778, he publishes a dictionary of French Sign Language. At the same time, oral education makes many strides in Spain, Germany, France, Holland, and England. Now, as you can tell, for hands like myself, this does not help me, but many use secret methods to teach lip reading to their deaf pupils. And the most successful oral teachers of the deaf is Samuel Heinecke, a German educator. He used techniques developed by a Dutch doctor and teaches pupils speech by having them fill his throat while he speaks. So he goes, oh, I'm just clearing my throat. Lime. That would get old really fast. But his techniques were called the German method. Kind of like, I don't know, Oktoberfest. Is that a German method too? We'll have to find out. So, 1817, the first American School of the Deaf was founded. This was founded by a great man named Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet, an American interested in deaf education. He travels to Europe where he meets that L'Epe de l'Epe successors, and his name is Roche Sicard, and he wrote The Theory of Signs. He sends one of his instructors, Laurent Clerc, back with Gallaudet, and the pair founded the American School of the Deaf in Hartford, Connecticut. Many of the teachers of the deaf train in Hartford and soon sign-based deaf schools in New York, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and elsewhere began to flourish. And Gallaudet's initial inspiration to teach the deaf, and Alice Cogswell, is the first graduate from the American School. The 1850s, a deaf state is proposed. Now, I thought that this was a problem when Texas wanted to be its own state. But people wanted to put all the deaf people in a single area, probably in one of the Western territories, to create a deaf state where deaf people could better enjoy their own community and flourish unrestrained by prejudice and often restrictive good intentions of hearing society. Now, doesn't that sound that it was written by a hearing person? I do believe so. Hey, I have an idea. Since we can't understand deaf people, why don't we put them in one location where they can be by themselves? Sounds like a great idea, right? Yeah, sure. 1864, Gallaudet College opens. Abraham Lincoln signs the charter for the Washington, D.C. based college for the deaf. It was known as the National College for the Deaf and Dumb, but it was actually later changed in 1893 to Gallaudet College because one of the founding founders is the most important. So, Gallaudet remains a leader in higher education for the deaf. In the 1870s, there is a person by the name of Alexander Graham Bell. Now, if you don't have a problem remembering your American history, he invented the telephone, a major invention for deaf people, I'm sure. But he was actually very interested in the deaf community. He had a mother who was hard of hearing, And he had a father who spent much of his life promoting the teaching method for the deaf called